Fight Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk Saturday in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So make sure you check the time differences and local listings, and make sure you tune into that fight. It's going to be a great one. Why wouldn't it be? Rematch for all the belts, the heavyweight titles, including Tyson Fury's Ring Magazine belt, which he obviously gave up when he retired. So there's a little bit of drama to that. Does Tyson Fury come back and fight the challenger to get his belts back, to lay claim to it all, and to, I guess, end any disputes that he's the greatest heavyweight champion of his era, and maybe possibly ever, retiring undefeated with all the belts. So let's get back to the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight. Obviously, it's the heavyweight, or it's the rematch between the two. Usyk being the victorious in their first fight, taking him the distance, really beating him, probably 9 rounds to 3, perhaps 8 to 4. I guess I wouldn't argue over 8 to 4, but it was probably 9 to 3. It was a good fight. Usyk really showed himself, especially over his first 2 heavyweight fights. One, I mean, there's some ways to forgive him because it was during the pandemic. He was inactive. I think he fought Chaz Witherspoon, and then he fought Chisora, and Chisora really kind of physically pushed him around, and but he was physical with him, took his shots, moved him around in there, and kind of showed him I don't know, maybe there were some question marks if Usyk was a real heavyweight, if he's going to be able to fight the really truly big guys that could take his shots. Well, Usyk answered those questions well when he fought Anthony Joshua. He was using that crafty, his boxing ability, that southpaw tactics and advantages. He was beating Joshua to the punch every time Joshua made a mistake, like maybe pawing that jab out. Usyk's hands was right in there in the pocket. He would jab over it or hook over it. He was landing quick 2s, darting in and out, a lot of speed, and just some good timing and some really good precise punches. And then you have Joshua on the flip side of that, who perhaps he left a lot to be desired. He wasn't aggressive, and when he was aggressive, he didn't really put his punches together in an aggressive manner. And when he did press the action, when he did try to use his size, Usyk made him pay. Usyk almost got him out of there. He hurt him 3 or 4 times. 3 for sure, perhaps 4. My memory may be wrong, but I know he cracked him 3 times, and he almost put him out towards the end of the fight. Now, there's something about that, that point I just made. When you're going into a rematch and a fighter feels like he exposed something about you, he gains a measurable amount of intelligence from you and a measurable amount of confidence to beat you again. I promise you that Usyk has gone back and looked at that fight and realized he could have got him out of there a couple times. I've looked at it and I saw where he could have pressed it a little bit. However, in fairness, Joshua does have a huge right hand. He's got a great hook. He throws uppercuts. He can get you out of there just as easy. So if you walk into something silly, you get a little over aggressive, it's going to be a short night for you. He's a big man. He's going to hit you hard no matter what. If it's the 12th round, first round, if he's beaten up, he's got a swollen eye, doesn't matter. He's going to crack you, and he's going to crack you hard. So there was some things in there that there was a balancing act. But I feel like that Usyk might have found something there that he can exploit, and he's probably looking forward to it. We're going to get back to that right here. Well, now, we got the Robert Garcia factor. We have Garcia entering Joshua's camp, and we see a little bit of a body transformation yet again. I know Joshua tends to always go through these body transformations. His body's always been the subject of everything, and I don't know why. I think it's people are just jealous because he's got a body, it looks like from the Greek gods. So is he a bodybuilder or is he a boxer? Anthony Joshua's a boxer. Anthony Joshua's a heck of a boxer. Anthony Joshua's a very good boxer. He's clearly a great boxer. So we're not going to get into the heavyweights or the bodybuilding nonsense. We're not going to hate on him. This, though, does bring into, at least it piques my interest about why is he slimming down to such a degree that he is. He doesn't look small, but he does look slimmer, if that makes sense. I say small because he's still got plenty of muscle mass, but he looks slimmer. What kind of training has he been doing to take on that body, to that new body role, that transformation? And what does he intend to do with this? So at this level of fighting, between each is so slim, it really comes down to good strategies, right? And good tactics and finding things in there that you can exploit or prevent the other guy from doing that he does best. Joshua, if he's got Robert Garcia is a known, renowned trainer. He's grinded his way up to that status, just like he did in his own boxing career. He's worked hard to get to where he's at. He's had multiple champions. People don't realize how many champions he's had. More Maidana, Brandon Rios, Mikey Garcia. He's got champions right now, younger guys that are champions. Bam Bam. He's had a light heavyweight. Kelly Pavlik worked out with him. So he's worked with guys, okay? Lots of world champions. But he's worked with smaller guys. It's the Mexican-American style fighting, the Mexican style fighting. It's suitable for, featherweights, 130s, 135s, 140s. They throw a lot of punches. They're in your chest. They got good footwork. They're very tactical. They're very technical. They got good counter punching. They're pressure fighting. They throw aggressive combinations. But heavyweights can't train like little guys, okay? They can't. It's impossible. They can't train as hard. They can't even train as often. Little guys, 120s, 130s, 110s, they can train 2 or 3 times a day. They can do sprints and run just amazing amount of miles, go in and work out, and then spar. And they can do it again the next day. It's just the way it is. Bigger bodies, smaller bodies, bigger bodies consume more energy. It takes more food, more energy to keep the big body moving. So, what kind of training is Robert Garcia putting him in? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say not that much. I don't think he's really changed a lot about Anthony Joshua other than his approach to certain parts of that fight. They've probably dissected the film, and he said, look, you got to be aggressive with these combinations. You need to be throwing from different angles. You need to be hooking and uppercutting and hooking and right hand. Just fight. Move your hands through the box, right through the zone. Land those shots and roll out. Go to the body. Push him back. Stick that jab in his chest. Stick it in his face. Probably things like that that makes him a more lethal fighter, which translates over to him maybe dropping some weight and slimming up so that he can move more, so he can be more active, right? Not necessarily more aggressive like an ogre, but more aggressive in terms of turning it on in key situations of the fight, having the gas tank in order to do that. We haven't really seen the dog in Anthony since he fought Klitschko, and I'm not quite sure he liked where he had to go mentally to win that fight, because that was a brutal fight against a very hard-hitting man, and hats off to Joshua for winning that fight like he did, but I haven't seen that Joshua since it happened. He's been a lot more scientific and a heck of a lot more cautious. It's almost like he's aware that he's a little chinny. I don't know. I don't know if it's a mental thing or what, but he sure seems to get hurt a lot when he gets hit. He just gets phased, and he can't recover. There's something to this. So that's why he doesn't want to be aggressive and use his big body to bully him like these pundits are saying. That's suicide. He should not do that. Every time he tried it in the first fight, Usyk tagged him. Usyk hurt him. Usyk hurt him 3 or 4 times doing it. Almost got him out of there. So I don't think we're going to see him coming out like Marcus Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather. It's impossible. 2 different fighters, 2 different body styles. Ain't going to happen. Won't happen. So now we got, on the flip side of that, we have Usyk, who has seemingly put on weight. He looks bigger than he did in the first fight. I don't know if that's true. I've seen footage, seen some training. I don't know if he actually is bigger, but he does look a little hulkier to me. I've seen his training video. He looks fine. Great footwork, head movement. I've seen him hitting the bags and the mitts. He's very technical, just like always. Doing a lot of head movement drills. He looks great. So I don't see the body he doesn't look like he's, out of character. He doesn't look like he's out of shape, being too big, not like out of shape, not training. So I don't think he's that much bigger. I just think he's probably a little differently conditioned for the fight. And here's my take on that. As I was saying a while ago, at this level, it's all about strategies and game plans. Enter Robert Garcia in Anthony Joshua's camp. Usyk and his team understand what Garcia is bringing to Joshua's corner. So they're going to expect maybe a little more physical type fighter, a guy who's maybe going to try to move in behind his jab, perhaps bump shoulders so he can rake the ribs, something. He's expecting a physical fight. I think he's expecting a different type of fight. He feels like he needs to probably be a little stronger to withstand that, right, in the first 4 or 5 rounds, because I'm going to go somewhere with that. Secondly, I think he knows that Joshua's a little chinny. I think he knows he hurt Joshua in that first fight. I think he understands he probably could have gotten Joshua out of there in the first fight, and I don't think he's going to make that same mistake again. I think he wants to be a bigger, stronger fighter and still rely on his great boxing technique, his southpaw tactics and advantages, his wonderful footwork of in and out, darting, and that jab and that left hand. And he's going to hit Joshua hard and often, I believe, is the game plan. I know that doesn't sound very scientific, but it doesn't have to be. He's going to do all the things he needs to do right in order to make that happen, but he is going to tag Joshua, and he's going to try to get Joshua out of there. I think Usyk's looking for a knockout. Point blank, I think he's going to try to get him out of there between rounds 7, 9, and 10, somewhere around there. I believe that Joshua's going to press it the first 4 or 5 rounds. He's probably going to look good. He's probably going to look a little different, a little energized. He's probably going to start throwing some shots. Usyk is not going to make mistakes in walking into something or letting it happen, I don't think. He'll probably go in survival mode a little bit. He's going to let Joshua do his thing. Usyk will look for places to counterpunch if he can. If he makes a mistake, Usyk will make him pay. Otherwise, 4th and 5th round, we'll start seeing the tempo sort of recede. We'll see Joshua going back to his pattern, his normal, natural pattern. And then we'll see Usyk take over from that point and get him out of there. So that's how I see this fight going. That's why I think we have a body transformation between Usyk and a body transformation between Joshua. Robert Garcia in the corner, adding an element to Joshua's game that he doesn't have or he feels like he's lacking. And Garcia is going to help coach him as a consultant for this fight, I think. I don't think it's going to be a permanent camp. I think he's more of a consultant. And he found areas in that fight where Joshua could have, used Garcia's tactics and maybe turned the fight around for him. Usyk's aware of this. Usyk's not going to change anything. Usyk's going to be on his feet, darting in and out. He'll be aggressive when he has to be. He'll be aggressive when he needs to be. And he's going to get Joshua out of there. That's my prediction. I think it's a TKO in the later rounds. I don't know if Robert Garcia is going to be able to help Joshua. I'm not sure it's even beneficial for Joshua to come in and maybe try to press the fight too aggressively. I think he's going to get caught with something, and it may even end earlier. It's not that I don't give Joshua any chance at all. I do. Obviously, he's a heavyweight. That's what happens. This thing could end at any point. If Joshua hits you with one of those right hands and he follows up with a hook, it could end. I'm not saying that we're going to write Joshua off here. I just think the matchup is wrong. Emmanuel Stewart said something. Look, in a rematch, the better boxer wins, right? The better boxer will win. And, the adage is, the rematch is the guy who won the first time. He usually wins the second time, but he does it more emphatically. I think that there's a reasons to this, and I think that some guys just have your number. Not only that, they've gained a lot of intelligence by fighting you. They know your tendencies, know your weaknesses. They've had time to break down the fight and exploit things in there that they know that you just do wrong, or that you don't do well, or things they can just pick up on, whatever the case may be. For the most part here, the rule is the rematch goes back to the victor. It goes the same way it did the first time. It just does it a little more dramatic. And I believe that's kind of where we're headed. So, all right, guys, don't forget to tune into that fight. Definitely watch it. But I did want to cover this and give it a quick little preview. Definitely like and subscribe to the channel. We're growing the channel. I like making this content. I like making instructional videos and kind of documenting my guys as they go through their development and their competition. And I do enjoy the interaction with you guys. So please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on fight day. Until then, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.